Your daughter is alive. A homeless black boy reveals a secret that shocks the millionaire. The chapel was heavy with silence. The kind of silence that made every cough, every shuffle of shoes echo like thunder. Rows of mourners filled the pews draped in black, their faces pale and tight with grief. At the center, an open coffin rested under the dim light, white satin framing the body of a small girl. She lay dressed in a soft blue gown, a white rose tucked between her hands. Her father, a tall man in a black tailored suit, stood beside her, his posture rigid but his face hollow. He was a man of power, a millionaire who had made enemies and fortunes in boardrooms across the world. Yet here, his wealth meant nothing. His shoulders sagged under the weight of something even money couldn't bend: the loss of his only child. Behind him, whispers stirred among the guests. None dared disturb him until they noticed a small figure edging forward. A boy, maybe 9 or 10 years old, stood near the aisle. His skin was dark, his curly hair cropped short, his frame thin under denim overalls, and a tan shirt that looked worn and washed too many times. He didn't belong in this world of expensive suits and high ceilings. A homeless boy at the funeral of a millionaire's daughter. People looked at him with confusion, some with annoyance, others with disdain, but he didn't move back. His wide eyes locked onto the coffin, unblinking, searching as though he saw something the rest of them had missed. The father noticed him at last, his face hardened. "Who is this child? Who let him in?" No one answered. The silence deepened until the boy stepped closer, his small fists clenched at his sides. "She's not gone," he said. His voice was small but clear, the words carrying into the stillness. Gasps rippled through the pews. The father turned sharply, his jaw tight. "What did you just say?" "She's not gone," the boy repeated louder now. He took another step toward the coffin, toward the man towering over him. "You think she is, but she isn't. I can see it." The father's eyes burned with fury. "How dare you?" he snapped, his voice trembling with both rage and exhaustion. "Do you understand where you are? Do you understand what you're saying?" The boy's lip quivered, but he stood his ground. "I know what I'm saying." He pulled something from the pocket of his overalls. A small glass bottle capped with gold filled with a pale liquid that caught the light like a trapped flame. He held it out with both hands. "This can help. My mother gave it to me before she died. She told me it could save a life when everyone else had given up." A murmur swept through the crowd. Some scoffed. Some shook their heads. The boy's dark eyes, though, stayed fixed on the man in front of him. The father stared at the bottle as though it were poison. His lips curled. "You dare bring me fairy tales? You dare?" His voice broke, anger crumbling into grief. "She's dead." "No," the boy said firmly, though tears were threatening to fall. His hands trembled as he extended the bottle closer. "She doesn't need to be buried. Not yet. Please just listen." The father's chest rose and fell in jagged breaths. He wanted to shove the child away, to scream, to restore order to the unbearable chaos inside him. But something in the boy's tone, steady, pleading, raw, made his body freeze. Around them, whispers turned into arguments. "Throw him out," someone hissed. "He's disturbing the family," another agreed, but others leaned forward, curiosity winning over disgust. The boy didn't look at them. His world shrank to the man in the suit. His voice cracked, but his words hit harder for it. "If you bury her now, you'll regret it for the rest of your life." The father's hands shook. He pressed his palms flat against the coffin's edge, his breathing shallow. The child's words stabbed through the armor he had built over days of grief. "You don't know what you're saying," he whispered, his voice thick. "I do," the boy answered quickly, desperate now. "I watched it happen to my sister. Everyone said she was gone, but my mother, she didn't stop. She used this." He lifted the bottle higher, forcing the millionaire to look at it, and she opened her eyes again. The father closed his eyes, his jaw clenched so tightly it hurt. He wanted to deny it, to laugh it off as madness. But his heart throbbed against his ribs, pounding with a question he couldn't silence. "What if?" The boy's voice softened, a whisper that barely carried. "Don't bury hope with her, sir. Don't do it." The millionaire's hand tightened around the bottle, its glass cold yet oddly heavy, as if carrying more than liquid inside. The pale glow seemed to pulse faintly, reflecting in his tear-swollen eyes. For a long moment, the chapel was still, every mourner waiting, breath caught in their throats as the grieving father wrestled with the boy's desperate plea. He turned sharply, his voice trembling but hard. "If this is nothing, if this is some trick," he cut himself off, the words dying on his tongue. He didn't need to finish. Everyone in the room knew the weight of what he held. The boy's small frame stood rigid, his chin lifted even as his lips quivered. "It's not a trick, sir. Please try." The father looked back at the coffin. His daughter's face was still, too, framed by white satin. She looked as though she were only sleeping, and for a fleeting second he wanted to cling to that illusion. His knees threatened to give way. He hadn't slept in days. He wasn't sure anymore what was real and what his mind invented to keep him breathing. But the boy's voice had cracked through his despair, filling him with a dangerous possibility. Ignoring the whispers rising around them, he uncorked the bottle. A sharp scent of herbs and something metallic filled the air, making a few mourners recoil. He dipped his hand, wetting his fingers, then leaned over the coffin. A woman gasped, "Stop him." But no one moved. No one dared. The father's fingers trembled as he touched the liquid to his daughter's lips. Drop by drop, the substance slid into her mouth. The silence that followed was unbearable. Every second stretched like an hour. Nothing happened. The father's chest tightened with despair. He closed his eyes, a broken sound slipping from his throat. "What have I done?" Murmurs grew louder. "He's lost his mind," someone whispered. "This is cruelty," another hissed. The boy gripped the coffin's edge, his knuckles white. "Wait," he whispered fiercely. "Don't give up." The father shook his head, his body trembling. But then, so faintly he thought he imagined it, he heard a sound, a fragile rasp, a breath, pulling against silence. His eyes snapped open. The rose in his daughter's hands shifted as her fingers twitched. Her lips parted, the softest gasp escaping. The room erupted. Shouts of disbelief, cries, and prayers tumbled together. The millionaire staggered forward, both hands pressing against the coffin's edge as tears blurred his vision. "Sweetheart," he choked out, his voice strangled with hope. Her eyelids fluttered heavy and slow. She looked fragile, her breath shallow, but her chest now rose and fell in steady rhythm. "Daddy," she whispered weakly, her voice breaking the spell of grief that had gripped the room. The man's sabre, raw and uncontrolled. He bent down, clutching her small hand in both of his. "I'm here, baby. I'm here. You're safe." His tears fell onto her skin, warm against the cool satin. The guests were frozen, unable to comprehend what they had just witnessed. Some fell to their knees, others covered their mouths with trembling hands. The boy, standing silently beside them, felt his own tears slip down his cheeks. He didn't smile. He didn't move. He just stood there steady, as if holding space for what he had always known would happen. The father turned, his face strewn with tears, and looked at the boy. For a moment, neither spoke. The air between them carried everything. The disbelief, the gratitude, the impossible truth of what had just unfolded. His lips parted, words failing him, but his eyes said what he could not. "You gave me back my child." The boy only nodded once, his small body sagging with relief. The father returned his gaze to the coffin, holding his daughter's hand like he would never let it go again. The sound of her weak breaths filled the air, fragile but real, drowning out the whispers and gasps. The funeral had transformed into something no one would ever forget. It was no longer a room of mourning, but a place where grief had been ripped apart by the most unexpected of hands. A poor boy with nothing offering everything. And in that moment, the line between power and poverty vanished. There was only a father, his daughter, and the unshakable truth that sometimes hope survives in the places we least expect. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments where in the world are you watching from. We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.